शब्द बिना सारा जग अंधा, काटे कौन मोह का फंदा। शब्द बिना सारा जग अंधा, काटे कौन मोह का फंदा। शब्द बिना बिरथा सब तंदा, शब्द बिना बिरथा सब तंदा। शब्द बिना जीव बंधन बंधा, शब्द बिना जीव बंधन बंधा।
Welcome seekers to today's spiritual satsang, titled Worldly Love versus Divine Love. I have with me is the Asia's main speaker, who is an advanced disciple of a perfect living master. So let's begin the satsang with some questions about love. So the first question is, let's begin with the definition of love. What is love? Is love the relationship between two humans, like couples, your spouses, between a man and a woman, or is it like motherly love? Main speaker, could you elaborate on what is love?
In ancient Hindu scripture, they said about that all humans are from God, and that in the human we all have the quality of God because we part of God. But the difference from the totality of consciousness, which is God, and us, is that we are small part of God. We are the many within the one God. So in order to complete, our godliness, then we have to get together, be part of one another. Just like, you have a big picture of jigsaw, right? If the full picture of the jigsaw pieces put together is God, then the small pieces within that picture as a one jigsaw is us as human beings separate from God. So therefore, love in this level of human is love from us, one another. Being couples, lovers, being the love from parents to children, being the love from us to animal, pets, it's like if we can get together and make, this love flow from one to the other, then we complete all the God love. For example, in the past, right, as human me, right, let's enlighten me. I was having a worldly relationship, like towards me and my friends, towards me to my boyfriend. So therefore, when the relationship ends, I tend to blame myself that, maybe it's not real love. Maybe, that love was a mistake that I have to overcome. But as I learn about divine love, the spiritual love from God, then I come to realize that, no, as human beings, we are here to learn how to love one another and to learn to complete that kind of love. Because if you cannot love one another here, then you cannot see the big picture of the divine love or God love. So therefore, as I'm on the spiritual path now, and I initiate from a perfect living master, then master make me understand what is divine love. So therefore, I can go back to my human self in the past and tell her that, no, that's okay, every kind of love is love. Don't use your mind analyzing it. Treasure every version of love that come into your life and try to make it the best experience.
In relation to the first point, how can we as humans generate love?
You can practice love here as human. For example, growing up, the first love that you're going to experience is the love from your parents to you, right? So you have to learn to return that love to your parents. As like being good children, being obedient of what they said, and try to explain the love to them. Say, I love you, or hugging them, or let them know that, you love them. And growing up, you can learn about love in boyfriend and girlfriend relationship. So that's also, you can learn about what is passionate love. The love between lovers. And then in your life later on, you can learn about love to your friends, love that you have to your friends, love that you have to your pet, love that you have to your spouse, and love that you have to your children. That's how you learn different versions of love. And when you collect all the different versions of love, and then you seek for a more complete picture of the love, which is the love between the master and disciple, then master gonna show you in his or her human life how they actually generate the divine love from God to other people around them. So as you see the perfect example from the master to the people around them, then you start to realize that, they carry the love with no discrimination. They carry the love that is unconditional. And when you see that perfect example, you can start to imitate first, right? The divine quality of that love, and using that toward every relationship that you have, toward every relationship that come into your life. Then ultimately, you will learn the complete picture of this love. And also, because if you know about this divine love, your self-love will increase as well.
Still on the topic of worldly love, when you say like I love my family, I love my pets, is this real love or is this just attachment?
From my observe, right? Because in the world right now, we have a lot of romantic movies, novels, right? Or love story that we tell one another, and the concept of marriage. So a lot of time I have found that people falling in love in the concept of love, they're just falling in love because they want to have that kind of love. But actually, it's not real love. It's love with attachment. Sometimes when, for example, in relationship between boyfriend and girlfriend, when one really think that I love you, a lot of time it's more of the I and it's not the you. So it sometimes it means that their love is just they just want very badly to embrace the concept of romantic love. But when that kind of concept of romantic love cannot fulfill, then they blame one another, then they break up, right? And they just, that kind of love, I think it's the love with attachment. It's the love with condition. It's conditioned love. It's like, okay, if you treat me nice, then in return, I will treat you nice. But that's not, unconditional act. It's like a business transaction, more of relationship than the relationship of real love.
Okay. Then by saying that, is worldly love just a ego game? Is it just a ego version of love?
Yes, because when you don't know yet what is unconditional love, what is divine love, then whatever love and relationship that you have will be from the ego point of view. Because, the real love or divine love is so rare. And it is very hard to see any human in this planet be able to doing that fully in their life. So therefore, God have mercy upon us. God has sent somebody as a perfect living master into this physical level. So when you come into the contact with them, then you feel that kind of love generate from them to you. Then instantly, that kind of pull of love will pull you toward them. Only spend, let's say, 1 to 3 minutes in their direct connection, have a small conversation with them. You can actually feel that kind of divine love generate from them and pull you. You feel like helpless at that time to falling in love with them. Because the love that they offer is actually the love from God, which is, I would say, you will not feel the complete love like this in other kind of relationship in the worldly sense, like, from boyfriend, girlfriend relationship, or lover, spouse, or even sometimes the love from the parents. Sometimes it's love with, a lot of relationship like that. It's love with the ego. It's love with attachment. And it's not complete love of God. Only when you experience the love from your master, from your perfect living master, then you can recognize that the other kind of love in your life is actually part of this, but is incomplete. But when you come to know, or understand or have direct experience what is divine love, then you can transcend every relationship, every other kind of love with attachment to be love with non-attachment, unconditional love later.
Can someone be void of love? For example, people who do violent acts, people who have negative traits. These people originally are humans, born into the world, full of love. and something happened to them due to the worldly circumstances or even their karmic circumstances, and suddenly they become violent. Is this because the love disappeared from them, or what really happens to these people? Can you be void of love?
What happened to them is because the lack of self-love. Maybe because it's unfortunate for them growing up. They don't receive proper love from parents. They not receive proper love from friends, family, or even acceptance from the social, their social circumstances. So therefore, they feel neglected. And those people who feel neglected from young age or growing up, they commit bad sin. Like you said, they can do murder, rapist, or criminal act only because they don't experience the love, and definitely they don't know what is divine love, because love, you have to feel it also within your heart in order to have relationship with other people. If this love, the self-love, is lacking to begin with, then they cannot recognize the love that they should have from one to the other, and they also cannot complete the picture like in the beginning I said to you. If God love is like a big picture of jigsaws, right? Then if the one jigsaw in the picture is lacking of self-love, how that jigsaw will be able to connect to other jigsaw in the picture? It can't, right? It's not willing to, because it feels neglected. But there's solution. If such a person come into connection of ordinary human, other humans that carry the divine love, then that divine love of Master, of perfect living Master, can change them. Firstly, they will recognize the self-love within them. And secondly, they will be able to learn to love other people. And ultimately, they will come to understand what is divine love. So that's possible. Like in the past, people who come into contact with Jesus Christ, they explain, how the divine love experience that they feel when they come into connection with Jesus. So that's why they be able to understand that kind of love from human to one. If somebody carry that kind of perfect love, then that love can reach other people as well.
What about the love generated from sentient beings, for example, animals? Do animals create the same amount of love, or is animals capable of love, or is it only a characteristics of being human?
Animals tend to have real love more than us, right? Because they don't love from the ego point of view that much. They're not using their time or spend their time analyzing about their love. If they love somebody, is love, right? So their love also based on instinct feeling. For example, if you adopt a puppy or a dog into your family, and the dog will see you as parents. So that kind of love will be like a kind of family love toward them. You know, like you experience the love from your parents to you as a son or a daughter. So in the pet, animal, they have this kind of love instinctively. It's built into them. So they'll be able to recognize that love right away. If you give to them, then the response from them is love in return, almost unconditional. Almost like God love, divine love, because they don't have that much ego in them like human.
Okay, that's very interesting. So it means that there's a lot of things that we can learn from animals in terms of the love department. Right.
Yeah, my observation in this world is that a lot of people have unsuccessful love relationship, and they tend to blame one another. And a lot of people, they cannot move on, like people who experience like very bad family relationship or getting divorced. Then later on they become very depressing person or neglect other people and not willing to start other kind of love relationship. I feel that this is very wrong idea about the ego kind of love, the love with attachment, because we are originally the soul, right? And the soul is the quality of love. So therefore, when the soul takes the human form in this lower creation, the soul also longing for love, every kind of love. And we are here, we have to experience the love from the separateness. Like I used to say to you about the concept of the ocean of love and the drop of love. If the ocean of love is God, is the complete picture of divine love, then we are here in the human form as the drop of love that separates from that ocean. But in true sense, we never really separate from this kind of love, because in human world we still have other humans, we still have one another, that we can express this kind of divine love from one drop of love to the other drop of love. So when you remove the ego, the I, from every kind of relationship of love, then there will be the true love that you experiencing there. And this love can forward to the other relationship. Like, for example, if a person have already multiple girlfriends or boyfriends, and they always feel let down from that relationship, and later on when they get married, in some part of them still feel bitter from the previous relationship, and and sometimes they cannot completely falling in love with the spouse, with the partner in life. In my opinion, they should not be like that. They should be able to forward that good memory, that good feeling of love, to the present relationship, and try to make that kind of love more complete. Like love the partner fully as you would love God, and love the children fully, as you would love God as well. So this kind of love you can learn and have experience in life. And every day you do little more little to make it more complete in your life.
Now let's move on to the other type of love, divine love. Maybe you can tell us the difference between worldly love and divine love. I know you have already talked about it in the previous questions, but maybe just to summarize everything, you can just explain to us the difference between divine love and worldly love.
Mm. From my own experience growing up, I'm experienced a lot of type of love. I would say that I never feel satisfied or complete with any relationship that I have. And I'm still trying very hard to make, every relationship work. Only when I get initiation from a perfect living master and come into direct connection, have conversation with the master, then I witness that kind of divine love that generates from the master to the disciple. So when I recognize that kind of divine love, then everything makes sense to me. I can go back to the relationship I have and make it more complete. And this is the secret, right? Only you know or recognize or have direct experience of the divine love from one human to the other human. Then you can say that you have real love within your heart. You can make your life complete. You can live your human life in love. And if this kind of love is lacking, if this kind of love of direct experience is lacking, then you will never feel satisfied. You will never feel, fully satisfied in any kind of relationship in your life. So my suggestion is that please seek this kind of love, from other human beings as per your perfect living master. And one day, this divine love person will come into your life and show you how to properly love one another.
Okay, maybe you can touch a bit on the type of love, the unconditional love that you mentioned, the love of a perfect living master. Maybe you can just touch on a couple of points on this.
Right? Like that is the old Persian say, right? Saying that love is firstborn in the heart of beloved. What actually means is that, the love that we have is actually from inside, built really deeply inside us, because we are from God. But because we are here, we forget about our God quality or our God self. So therefore, when we are here, we have to learn first about self-love. And from that self-love, we can learn to love one another in the relationship. And from the relationship, when you be able to love everything and everyone unconditionally, then that will be the love from the original beloved. Okay, to put in the simple term, the divine love will have a lot of pulling quality in it. When you experience that kind of love, you feel helpless. And then you will want to experience that love more and more. In the previous satsang, I used to tell about my mother's story that, on the spiritual part, she's also seeking the experience of love from different states of love. So when she went to practice spiritual part in the temple, she felt like they lacking of love because they still gossip, criticize one another. Then she seeks furthermore until one day she meet with Ishwapuriji when he came to Thailand. And she said that kind of love is really strong, pulling her, right? And when I introduced her to Master, she just can't help. She just opened her arms and come running and hug Master. And she said, that kind of love just sent me off my feet. I cannot help. I cannot, control myself of that kind of love that I experienced at that time. That's why, until you have direct experience of this kind of unconditional love from the ultimate beloved in human form, you won't feel complete. All the time in your life, you will feel longing of real love, of this kind of divine love.
So for initiates who have already been contact with a perfect living master, are they able to generate that same kind of divine love as they go on further into their practice to other people around them?
Being initiated, sometimes we still have a ego within us. And this ego is very hard to overcome. So my suggestion is that imitate, copy that kind of love that you have direct experience from Master, to you first. At any moment of time, right? When you go to challenging time in your life, maybe you ask yourself, okay, if it's Master, what Master would do, right? And if you ask inside your heart sincerely, Master will show you how to walk on the footsteps of the Master, how to generate that kind of unconditional love to everyone. Or my mother used to say to me that, when she started meditating, she's always remember the experience that she spent physically with the Master. And she used that kind of feeling of love as the start up in her meditation. So therefore, when you experience that kind of real love, you will want it to extend more and more time in your life. And when you be able to extend that kind of love longer time in your heart, in your feeling, then the people that come into connection with you will feel that kind of love generate from you automatically. So only when you try to start your day with that kind of love that you feel from the Master, and if you be able to carry it throughout the day, then you can automatically improve every relationship that you have, being the love from you to the partner, or the love from you to your children, the love from you to your co-workers, or the love from you to your pet, your animal. or even sometimes that kind of love can, give to the plant around your house, even because this divine love is, it's very big effect that you can feel in your subconsciousness. Everybody that come into your connection will recognize that. They will say that, oh, you are a very loving person, but they don't know why. The secret of the disciple is that they are a unit of love, a unit of divine love in this planet. Because they come into connection with Master, they get acceptance, being disciple, get initiation from the Master. And this kind of love already built inside of them. It's just only the matter of practice. How much you can overcome your own ego. If you can overcome your own ego, little by little, this love will start to surface within you, and other people will feel this.
That's it for today's satsang. Thank you, main speaker, for spending time with us for this satsang. If you want more information about Ista Asia, please go to www.istaasia.com. You may also subscribe to our newsletter or email us any inquiries you may have regarding spirituality. Thank you for listening.